How do you help your clients choose someone or a company to serve in this role?
Usually they have somebody in mind already. I would say a lot of the time they do, and it's their kids, their oldest kids, especially if their kids are adults. They don't have a family member or friend that they can rely on or that they trust to execute their wishes. Then usually we recommend either hiring a fiduciary company that offers those skills, so they'd step in and
Yeah.
act as a successor
We'll talk
trustee.
more about fiduciary companies, but do clients ever have bad ideas?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes.
What type of bad ideas?
I wouldn't say they're bad. I would just say,
I
looking
would.
at it from a trust administration point of view, it makes the administration of the trust a lot more difficult. So, a lot of people want co-trustees. That seems to be very common, especially people who have two kids or multiple kids. They want them working together to distribute the estate. So,
Let's talk about that for a minute. So co-trustees, two people with a
working
power.
together.
That's one of those things where it's not always a bad idea. When there's only two children, I think that's pretty common that they name both of them, or it just depends on the children and the family dynamics. That's not necessarily a bad choice. What I'll definitely say is a bad choice when you're naming like three or more, or even when you're naming any two individuals together. You got to consider what's going to happen if they can't agree. And we see it a lot, especially in split families, where they husband and wife each had children from a prior relationship. Sometimes what we'll see is they name each of their children, thinking that will help them work together. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes these kids, have never even met each other, have no relationship at all, and then they have each of them can have great ideas, which could technically be a good use, but how do you determine what to do for the trust? So yeah, co-trustees is something that we caution people about. Any other problems we see in just choosing the trustee?
We've had people who choose banks as their trustees, which can sometimes be problematic because a lot of the time they have accounts with those banks, so the banks have an interest in, the distribution of the assets, keeping that money in those accounts under their name.
Yeah, so there can be a conflict of interest with the trustee.
Exactly.
So when choosing trustees, you have persons you could name, like a family member. One of the beneficiaries is an obvious choice, usually, like one of the kids, if they're adults and of age. You could name them to manage it because they're going to be interested as one of the persons receiving. Now, if your children are minors, the beneficiaries are minors, or they're not able to manage the money themselves, then other persons, we see people name like family members, maybe a brother or a sister or someone like that, or just a close friend. But if you've exhausted the people, then that's where you get into companies. So if there's not a good person in your life, then you can look at companies. So, but with any company, it's important. You're really picking the company. So they have whatever their policies are today, but what are they going to be in the future? And that's where, with our experience, we're seeing the pressure from the banks after someone passes away.